Vancouver and Justicia for Migrant Workers. And I want you to know here that Canada and the US are completely complicit with what's going on. Not just the SPP, but historically. The SPP is just one more treaty, one more agreement. What we call it in Spanish is an alianza, an alliance, because that is what it is. An alliance between the three infamous amigos, between Felipe Calderón, which we like to call fecal, as in fecal matter. That's what he is. Down with fecal, abajo con fecal. And Bush, which we like to, well, I'm sure everybody has different nicknames from him. And also for Harper, the three fascists, the three right-wing governments, because that's what we're seeing happening across North America. We see repression against social movements, and we see that the effects like these agreements are twofold, especially in countries like Mexico, but also here in Canada, with the displacement of indigenous peoples off their lands. But for Mexico, we're seeing the continued migration of people and the continuing repression of social movements. You know, sometimes these people that make all these agreements, they tell us how great NAFTA is. If NAFTA was so great for Mexico, then how come millions of Mexicans have left the country? You know? How come millions of Mexicans head north to the US and out of Canada if everything was so peachy great in Mexico? Because they cannot stay home in the face of such brutal repression and economic and cultural and social crisis that we're seeing in the country. So they're forced to come migrate. And we're seeing the increase and the multiplication of these guest worker programs, like the Seasonal Agriculture Workers Program, which is a disgusting program, and all the other forms of migrant labor that we see in this country, which are disgusting, because they bring people to work in the most deplorable conditions, and they become second-class citizens. That's what we see with migrant and immigrant workers. That's not acceptable. We cannot be supporting programs that bring workers to work in Canada under slave-like conditions. Ramona vive!
La lucha sigue!
Ramona vive!
La lucha sigue!
Gracias, y sigue la resistencia de los trabajadores y las trabajadoras y todos que estamos aquí.
This is public property! Scotiabank and the CEO of Scotiabank is involved with the North American Competitiveness Council. And the North American Competitiveness Council is a lobby group exclusively made up of corporations and their CEOs. And they're the only formal advisory body to the SPP. And that's why Scotiabank was attacked today.
Feels that they need to protect the offices of the Canadian Armed Forces while the armed forces are brutalizing and killing people in Afghanistan. Why exactly do we have to see these officers protecting this building? Why do we have to put up with this? The real criminals, George Bush and Stephen Harper and Felipe Calderón, are being protected by the RCMP, being protected by the U.S. military. And they seem to want to protect these little offices, a window from us, when they're not doing any justice to the people that are the real criminals.